And I'm sort of building this a little bit here as we go. But I want to talk to you about each part of an order prints chart. So my first step is I'm just going to open a chart with nothing on it but order prints. So we're like last time we did a chart with no order prints on it. This time we're going to do a chart with just order prints on it. Okay. And so I'm going to open this up, and I'm not saying you need to do this. I just want to make it even cleaner, so that way you're sort of seeing what to focus on. And let's see here, and then no template. So open that up eventually, and then we're going to go through each part of order prints. We may have some levels on there. I'm not going to delete all my levels off tonight, but let's go in and go down to institutional order prints and click OK. And I'm missing a little bit here because when we were doing the upgrades, I was doing that, but I'll get that data from Lori later. Somebody asked about the live event. Can they go and stay somewhere else? Right now, we have to have enough people on the waiting list to actually even justify it because we've maxed out the 2 rooms. So we can add on 1 more room, but we have to have about 20, 25 people. So to justify adding on that additional room. So fill it out, and that's what will happen is you'll stay somewhere else if you go. But get on that waiting list because that's how until we get to 2025, we're not going to be even looking at expanding it out. So make sure you do fill that out if you're wanting to go to the event. I think we have like 10 on there right now, so it's getting close. All right, so this is just a plain chart with just order prints on it. Okay? And I'll sort of bring this chart back and forth. So as we go through, each piece. Okay? And let me go in and I'll add this in. All right. So the first one we're going to talk about is clusters. Okay? Does anybody like the clusters? Have y'all learned a lot using the clusters? So some of you learned a lot, some of you learned a little bit. All right, so here's a definition of the clusters. They're a buildup of orders in context of market conditions. What does that mean? That means there's a lot of orders compared to the orders around it. Okay? And like a significant buildup. The biggest advantage of a cluster is early chop warnings. Okay? If there is a cluster on 2 successive bars or 2 clusters within 3 bars in a row, you should expect chop. Now, I'm not saying it'll always chop, but you're on a high probability, like 70-80% probability that it's going to chop. Okay? And when the cluster prints, it won't go away. It may change location on the bar, but it will not go away. So let's look at it in context of chop. And we'll just look at today. So we had a couple examples of this today. All right, so scrolling on back here. Okay, so right here, do you see the 2 cluster bars right there? The 2 clusters? Does everybody see those? And those, by the way, it's the yellow. The yellow print is the cluster bar. Okay, we have 2 of them in a row. Now notice, like if you're watching this from the right side of the chart, do you have any idea that chop is coming? Without those clusters, do you have a clue that chop is coming? If you don't have the clusters, do you have any idea? All right, so usually what has to happen for you to know there's going to be chop? You have to look backwards, right? In normal trading, you have to look back and you got to see, in other people's charts. or other chart setups. Basically, until the chop has happened, you don't know. So this tells you up front that chop is about to happen. All right? So if you get a setup on the next bar, like we do right there, should we take the trade knowing that there's about to be chop? Like, is that a good idea to take that trade knowing it's about to chop? What about if it's enhanced? What if it's like a paw print on top of a mini magnet or a paw on top of a paw? Should you take it if it's enhanced? If there's about to be chop? So I got a few maybes, sometimes a lot of no's, not sure. So the answer is no, no, and no, because you went from a probability trade to a possibility trade as soon as that chop happened. And you don't want possibilities. Possibilities are hopes and dreams, okay? Probabilities are more likely to happen. So we want to take trades that are more likely to be profitable. Well, if you would have taken this trade, which required the X box and had the trapped order inside of it, you would have got in a tick below, and then we would have got out 10 ticks lower, except for the fact that it didn't make it 10 ticks lower. Okay? It made it 21 ticks higher, and so you would have lost 21 ticks on the trade. Now, when I say 10 ticks lower, I mean 10 ticks from the low of the setup bar, the bar with the X box on it. I do not mean 10 ticks from your fill. Your fill can vary. Okay, so even though I showed you an advanced ATM, even though they call it automated trade management, is really assisted trade management. It's throwing on a take profit, it's throwing on a stop loss for you, but you need to adjust it. And I showed you on the webinar last Tuesday, that we just had Tuesday. So if you didn't watch that one, go watch that one. We're talking about the highway levels. I showed in that webinar how to know exactly where the price was that you needed to move your take profit to. Okay? And have it print on the chart for you to make it super, super easy. But do y'all get that lesson right there? Don't take the trade with the chop. And now, what if it was a cluster, no cluster, and a cluster? Does that count? Yes, because this is within 3 bars. Now, what if I had a cluster back here and like 6 bars later I had a cluster? Does that count? No. Okay. And we can go through, and I think there was another period, and it may have worked on another one. But again, I don't like possibilities. So there's 2 clusters. That wasn't even a setup. Let's find one. I think there was one other one that was a setup for the day. Okay, so right here we got 2 clusters. Right? See those 2 clusters back to back on the right side of the chart? And we have an X box. So that red box with trap doors inside and a mini magnet. So it looks like a strong setup. And there it goes. It chops. And now it's going to really confuse you. And yes, everything is recorded. So it's going to go the other way. It's going to confuse you. And it's chopping. And then it goes down. And it finally works. Okay? So that one did work. Not without giving you a little bit of a heart attack. But it did work. Okay? So Steve asked a question trying to make it more difficult. Do 2 traps offset 3 clusters and can take that? No. There's no rule like that at all. There's only, if there's 2 clusters within 2 to 3 bars, don't trade the first trade after that. Keep it simple. Okay? And that's one of the things that, especially experienced traders, can be the worst at, right? We can be our own worst enemies. Like the new traders are easy. It's like I had a friend, one of my best friends came over the other day, taught him how to trade. He was like, this is so simple and easy. And he's not even questioning it because he doesn't have a background in trading. Those of us who have a background in trading really like to bring all these other ideas and find all these other patterns, and we make it harder. Like, it can't be this simple. Like, there has to be another way I could avoid that one loss that I took and just freak out about it. It's like, dude, take 3 wins, do it 20 days a month, and you're going to, if you follow the 90-day management plan, you're going to get there, and 60 point, you're going to get there in 12 months, be making over 6 figures, $250,000. Do you need to make it better? Like, do you need to really make it better? I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's not good to look for things, and I'm not saying that we don't have traders that have found some other patterns that are working really well for them. Okay? But I look at it and I'm like, that's great, but this works. And it works really well. 80, 90% win rate that we've been having. And that's, through Christmas, that's Trump tweets, that's tariffs coming in, tariffs getting solved, that's impeachments, that, range markets, trending markets, flat markets. I mean, we've had everything over the last 2.5 months. So you don't got to make it, you don't have to make it harder. There's always other trades, I promise you, but there'll be trades. So, and what happens is a lot of times we see things that really seem to work, but we don't see every time it doesn't work. Like there was a comment in one of the rooms the other night about, hey, I've noticed that there's an Xbox and it goes away. It really seems to run. Okay, but what about all the times that it didn't run? Did it actually work as often as you think? Because you have to go through market replay and see every time an Xbox appeared, was trapped and disappeared. So it's so easy to see the good stuff and not see all the bad stuff. All right? All right, so that's really what you need to know about clusters, is they are very useful for identifying chop when there's 2 in a row or 2 within 3 bars. Expect there to be some chop. And half the time there won't be. But do you want a 50% trade? Is that the percentage you want to trade? All right. So, and be interactive. Like, seriously, do you want to take 50% trades? Or do you want to just wait for the next trade? Because I know some of you, and I'm there with you. I've done it myself, okay? You're sitting there, you've been waiting 20 minutes for a setup or longer, and you're just like, oh, thank God there's an Xbox with a trapped order. I'm getting in the trade. Because this one, it's like cluster me, whatever, I mean, right. Has everybody been there and done that? You're just so ready for a trade that you just go ahead and get in? So, what does Lori say often in the trade room? We are paid to be what? Patient. Good traders are paid to be patient. Bad traders pay to be impatient. So you can either pay and be impatient, or you can be paid to be patient. But those are your 2 choices, sniper or target. Okay? Snipers are patient. They wait for the right setups. So you could say chop is an obstruction for setup 2 for pretty much just about anything. Damon's like, I never take a bad trade. Exact. Yeah, whatever. So, anyways, y'all get the idea, right? And I mean, that's pretty simple. And most of y'all probably knew what I just said already. But I just wanted to make that really clear. And for anybody who maybe didn't, maybe you haven't been in the room, you haven't got to learn that lesson. So no matter what setup it is, watch out. There'll be another trade. Okay? All right, so with that, let's move on to the next one. And that's exhaustion. So if the second of 2 consecutive bars occurs on the setup bar, should we ignore the trade? Osmond, yes, you should ignore the trade. Now the reset trade after that can be a good one, but the one that comes right after that or on that setup bar, yes, cancel your order. If you have a pending order sitting there waiting on the setup bar and all of a sudden a cluster appears, remember it won't go away. It may move on the bar, but it won't go away. If a cluster appears, cancel your order and don't take the trade. So great question. All right, so exhaustion. That's our red box and green boxes. Okay. Exhaustion is an early sign that the current move may be coming to an end. Okay? By itself, it doesn't hold a lot of weight. One on the other end of the bar doesn't hold a lot of weight. But when you put the other order print signals together, it's extremely accurate. Okay? So we go in, and some of y'all, is it hard for you to see the exhaustion boxes? Would you like to make them a little easier to see? All right, so I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? We're going to right click on the chart. We're going to go to indicators. Where are they? There we are. And then they're in alphabetical order. So we're going to go up here and we're going to find exhaustion boxes. And you can hit these little plus signs right there. So number 12 is exhaustion. Okay. And again, I'm inside the institutional order prints indicator. And you can just make it a brighter red, like red. And you can make this, a brighter green right there. So you can also, do other things to it, but I wouldn't really recommend making it any thicker because then it'll start making other stuff hard to see. And I'm going to hit apply, and now let's see what it looks like. Let that load up. There we go. So is that a little easier for you to see the X boxes? All right, so simple trick, but definitely helpful. If you got an X box on both sides, you just have an X box on both sides. Remember, it's in combination with everything where it matters, right? And sometimes you'll have them in the middle. You'll have them in different places. The only thing that matters is, are they at the bottom or the top of a reversal bar with trapped orders, and then following the other rules that go with it. Okay? But it basically just means that, there's a sign, it's coming to an end, but we need something else to really tell us that this is a good setup. So, because if you just take one, then you can see like, well, that one didn't work, well, that one did. Well, we go down, oh, there's one with a trapped X box in it. There's a profitable trade. So, and again, to get to that, you right click and you go to indicators and you find the Apex Diagnostic Institutional Order Prints and number 12, alphabetical order, exhaustion, and you can change the colors. Okay? So is that beneficial? I'm trying to give you all just, not overwhelm you, but give you like some definitions and also, add value where we can as well. So, and if you think about a lot of these things, like if it's a sign that it may be coming to an end, and if you were somebody who was trailing, would that maybe be a wise place to trail? Like, let's say you were in this long and you were trailing. When an X box gets late and the bar closes, could you use that X box to trail your stop up? So clusters have massive value. The value is seeing shot before it happens, which I think is probably one of the most valuable things they have. Yeah. But yeah, you could literally, every time an X box prints, if you were trailing, you could use that. Okay? All right, so now let's go to, everybody good on those? So show a trade to show it like how it would have happened. Yeah. Man, I took a lot of trades today, but we'll just go to the beginning of the day where we started. All right, so we don't start till like 9:35. Let's find a, what do you call it? Enhanced trade. I'm trying to get that word imprinted in my head. Oh, there's so many. Whatever. We'll just go to the first over here. So all right, so we're in an uptrend. The market opens up, and I called this short trade this morning right here. Okay, 9:35. We had an X box with trapped orders. We sell below it, and I said, watch out, we're in a range, let the market break up, and then let it pull back down. Because here's what usually happens is when you get a range like this, especially in the morning, this pre-open market was running up, and I expected a pull back. Now, we got one signal right there, but we didn't make that one because that was not before 9:35. Okay? So we didn't take that one, and it would have been choppy anyway. But I expected it to pull back to this range right here, the top of the range. Because that's when it breaks out, it usually pulls back to the top of the range before making another move. And so right here, right past 9:35, we got an X box with the trapped order to go back to that range. It's a reversal bar. We put a short in one tick below it, and we take profit right here with our stop at the high of the bar. I had a cluster. Didn't matter that I had a cluster. One is fine. Right? All right. So, again, by itself, it doesn't hold a lot of weight. And the point in X boxes, you need to follow all the rules, right? You either got to trade the advanced or the enhanced ones, or you got to trade them like with the trend. Right? How I teach you in section 8. If it's a double cluster, I don't trade it. That's right. The double cluster was that 2 yellow boxes. All right, so we good on exhaustion, or any questions on exhaustion? All right, sweet. So question is, the main market you trade in Q. We have people that trade FX markets and energy markets, ag markets, indice markets. But yes, the main one we teach you to trade is NQ, because once you learn it, one, you get plenty of trades a day. But two is once you learn on an NQ, then you can go and you can apply it to any other market you want to. And it's a lot easier to keep everybody on the same page. I have up like 10 markets on my computer. But the main one we trade, like in the room where I call out live trades, is NASDAQ. It's a lot more volatile, so it gives us a lot more trades. ES is just so slow. So, all right. So the next thing, mini magnets, or MM. Who's noticed they have value? I mean, they're a part of pretty much almost every setup, right? Except for setup 2 or setup 1. So let's talk about mini magnets. Oh, I jumped ahead. We'll come back. But we'll go ahead and go to mini magnets now. We'll come back. Mini magnets are a level that the price will retrace to. So often the market will pull back to a mini magnet. So let's just look at that one statement and see how true it is. So mini magnet are these little beige lines right here. See, anybody notice how the markets pull back to them, throws a mini magnet there, pulls back to it, throws one there, pulls back to it. Okay, so the market will often pull back to mini magnets. Pulls back to that magnet. Pulls back to that magnet. Okay? So the market will often pull back to them. We know that. But it also pushes off of them. Now, if a mini magnet prints within a few ticks of another mini magnet, it's a really strong level. Okay? So, which will usually the market will push off of. Here's one of the biggest pieces. When they print several in a range, that price will probably get stuck in that chop range. Now, 30 ticks isn't too bad, but it'll get stuck between those prices, usually for quite a while. Now, when you combine them with a reversal bar and an exhaustion box with a trapped order, it makes for a great trade setup. So let's look at just a few of the things that I'm talking about. So see how we're getting all of these magnets printing? I got one here, there, like bunches of magnets. We're sort of stuck in a range. Y'all see that? Breaks out of it, but it prints another magnet, and what happens? Now it's bouncing between the magnets. So when you get a lot of them printing, you'll get very, very range bound. I can go back, and I'm just trying to find areas where we have a lot printing. But a big thing that's to watch out for is when you have tons of them printing, like above and below you. I mean, here's sort of, an example. Like there's bouncing right there. Actually, here's an even better example. See all these magnets being laid like crazy? And it's stuck between the magnets. And there was a lot of that today, too. Anybody notice that? See, Lori, can you, yeah, it was sort of an icky day, but it was a profitable day. It just was one of those, like, you had to be really patient, but there was 20 plus trades. If you just follow the system today, I think 19 winning trades out of the day. I mean, there's a good example right there. Bouncing up and down, bouncing up and down, bouncing up and down. This is what we were stuck in the morning. I mean, that was just like right inside the range. So the market will often not only be attracted to the levels, but it actually will push off of the mini magnet levels. That was before open, actually. It wasn't between open, it was before open. See, look at this. Now do y'all see it? These magnets in this range. Zooming out sort of helps really make the point. And that was right before the open. And then right around 11 o'clock, we got a little bit choppy. Then we broke out. You can see again, when we're choppy, magnet stuck right above and below. So what time frame? We don't use a time frame. I don't think it makes any sense to have a new bar on your chart because the Earth moved a few degrees and turned. Because that's what a 5-minute bar is, right? The Earth has turned so many degrees, and therefore 5 minutes have passed. Therefore, we're going to plot a new bar. That makes no sense. I want the market to move to give me a bar. So we use diagnostic bars. These bars could last 1 second. They could last 1 hour. Okay? Is that what you meant by time frame? So the market will usually have weakness off of a price and it'll push away from it. Oh, if you just look from like 9:30 to or 9:35 to like 4 o'clock, 20 trades Eastern time. Now, if you combine a mini magnet within 2 ticks of another mini magnet or paw and the Xbox trapped Xbox, that makes for one of the best trades. A mini magnet on top of a mini magnet, or a mini magnet on top of a paw within 2 ticks, okay? With a trapped Xbox on a reversal bar is one of the best trades that exist. And it's very simple. It's very duplicatable. We call that an enhanced trade. So let's see if we can find an example. Let's see here. I'll zoom in. So this one already had an existing mini magnet, but in this case we had a paw, and I'll come to paws in a second. But notice how the mini magnet and paw are right by each other, and then it goes down, and it does make its 10. It was a little bit hard, but it made its 10 ticks. But it pushed through all these ZOIs, which I'll talk about in a little bit. There's a mini magnet. Doesn't have trapped orders, but notice how it still pushed off. Trying to find one. Probably should have looked up exact time frames. I don't try to cherry pick things whenever we pull them up. I like to pull them up how they are. So here, okay, so there we go. So trapped Xbox with a mini magnet within 2 ticks of a paw. 10 ticks down. Okay? So just within 2 ticks. 2 ticks above it, 2 ticks below it, but within 2 ticks. Somebody mentioned another time. Here we go. So 1326, we got a green Xbox with a trapped order, laying a mini magnet on top of a paw. Thank you, Richard. So that's an entry right there. It's a reversal bar. Notice it's a reversal bar. And then it went 10 ticks. But there's one problem with this trade. I mean, it won, which is great. But what's the one problem with this trade? Who can tell me? Double clusters. So not being into a mini magnet, because we can take the enhanced, where you have a mini magnet on top of a paw, or a mini magnet on top of a mini magnet, and it'll break through a single level. Not a stack, but it'll break through a single level. But that double cluster, 2 clusters within 3 bars, made that a 50-50 trade. Now, it happened to be a great trade, and it worked out fantastic. But again, 50-50. Right? And it's so easy to go, man, that thing took off. I should take the next one. What do you think is going to happen on the next one? Boom, you're going to get hit. Okay? So, Stephanie asked, so isn't that after you got in? No. Remember, the cluster forms. So this trapped Xbox formed, mini magnet formed, cluster forms live during the bar. You have your order pending. As soon as that cluster pops up and you got 2 within 3 bars, you cancel your trade. Yeah, so like right here, right there, cluster, cluster. It doesn't mean every trade will win. Remember I said we're obviously we expect. Probability by definition means what? Does it mean percentage or does it mean certainty? Percentage. Some will lose. So, and I like to be balanced when I teach. So here is an Xbox with a trapped order, laying a paw on a mini magnet, and what happens? Does it win or does it lose? That one lost. Okay? What do? Do you freak out because you took the loss and now what's going to happen? If you freak out because there was a loss, get a hug, go on, throw your temper tantrum, whatever, or let it go, cry about it later. Because what's going to happen is you're going to miss the next trades. Okay? Pet your dog. So we got ranch dogs out here. A couple of them follow me over to the apartment. Sometimes I let them in. The trading studio that we have on the ranch. A mini magnet will always be on the end of a bar. So it loses, so what? Next trade. Right? There's a trade. Boom. Move 10 ticks. Got your 10 ticks on the trade. Moving forward, there's a reversal. Got your 10 ticks. There's another one. Got your 10 ticks. Here's another one. Got your 10 ticks. Could add on another one. Got your 10 ticks. Should you have worried about the one trade that lost? Should you expect to have a trade here and there that loses? And I mean, it sounds so it sounds almost stupid to ask the question. But it's a psychological thing. Like, you literally need to expect it so that way it doesn't freak you out. Because otherwise you'd go, what did I do wrong? How do I fix it? Oh my gosh, I got to take a screenshot and I got to post it now. And I mean, that happened to, I think, a trader today. They're like, did you get the trader after that at 1? He's like, no, I was taking this screenshot. Right? It's like, sometimes they're just going to lose. Now, sometimes you can avoid that. And that's why you do take the screenshots. That's why you post them in the room. That's why you post them inside your mentor rooms that we offer for free with the elite membership. Okay? And we'll help you out. So you just go grab a couple more trades. There are plenty of trades. So here's a good question that came up. So if, let's say you have two settings, like right here. You got a setup there and you got a setup there. Would I recommend taking both trades? Only if it's within your risk management, because at this point you have not locked in profit. That would be more of a strategy of if you're trailing and you're already locking in profit and another one came up, then you could take it. Or maybe you missed the first trade. So there's the second one. Okay? Or it's a enhanced one and you're only doing an enhanced order, so you take it. Okay? But I would not add on more risk at a lower price on selling when I haven't even locked in the profit on the first contract, or protected the profit on the first contract I'm in. So if an opposing reversal bar closes, I don't exit the trade right away. I just give it time to work itself out. Yeah, when I open my template up, as you notice, I meant to only have the OP template up, and I keep grabbing the wrong chart. It automatically updated for me. So it should automatically update for you. So now another good question here. Brett says, what if you were up 8 ticks and then they went back and knocked you out by -2? You're out of the trade. You can take the next trade. Which actually in this case was a higher probability trade, and we can tell just by how the market moved, it went straight down. Try to take profit. So yeah, if I got in this trade, then I would stay in until taken out of it. Now, if I had an 8 -2, like I just taught you at the beginning of the webinar, I would have got taken out at -2 ticks. I would have taken the next trade. There's your 10. So Brian asked, Daryl, one of the rules of the TX trade, when we're not talking about the secret setups, right? So of just normal, what we call naked Xbox trades, okay? Meaning they don't have a paw on a paw or a mini magnet on a mini magnet or a mini magnet on a paw, okay? Says one of your definitions is to take the trades with the trend. So the simplest, not the 100%, but the simplest definition I can give you is the DR indicator, the deviation reversal indicator. Will help you define your trend. If it's green, then only take long trades. Unless you have divergence, like in this case, we're in a long trend and there's a short setup. But we have a bigger hill and then a littler hill. We have divergence on DR while in an uptrend, so we can take a short. Does that help, Brian? Richard, you can either, I would suggest not moving the initial stop to begin with. And then later as you get into it, then you can use when you're up 8, move it down to 2. The only time I would tell you to move the initial stop, there's one time, okay, is if you're going into a level, like any level, tighten your stop to break even. So let's see here. I know there's some examples because I saw them today. Let's see here. Here's a perfect example. We actually called this out in the room. But this short trade right here, and it was a enhanced trade, which means it usually breaks levels. Right, a paw on a paw. And it's coming into a paw print. I would either take profit there or I would move my stop on down to break even. Does that make sense? So the one time I would definitely move it is when I'm coming into a level, then I would tighten it up. Otherwise, you need to let it move itself around or you're just going to get knocked out all the time. See, Corey asked, can you switch an ATM when you're in a trade? No, it only applies if you selected the ATM before you entered. So that you'll have to manually change things after that. You don't have to, if you have a custom template, just remove order prints and add it back. So just right click and remove, hit apply, and then add it back, hit apply, hit OK, save your workspace. If you need to, it may not even make you change it. It may automatically look like this now with the new trapped. So the big hill, little hill, understanding that. Okay, so right here, well, that's not, I mean, that's sort of on the same level. Let's go back to that other example. Or was that earlier in the day? Getting a little off topic because I'm supposed to be just on OP. All right, let's see. Beginning of the day, moving forward. And then all right, so here's a naked Xbox, okay, one without an extra paw or magnet on it. And see how these deviation reversals, how I have them like hills? I showed how to do that last time. Makes it, I mean, you can look at it as a histogram or just like this. But look at this as a hill and then a stronger hill, okay? Like it got bigger as the market's going up. It's green, right? So here's one hill where it peaks and comes down. Here's another hill where it peaks and comes down. The market went up, it got bigger. That's not divergent. That's not doing the opposite thing. Okay? So that trade would be going against the trend and just asking to get hit. So if you took that trade, you went counter trend. If we go over to, say, 1153, $11.53. What do y'all see at 11:53? Maybe you had the wrong time zone. Oh, do you mean here? 12:03. We have it right here. Okay. So here, the market's making a higher high, right? It's making higher highs. It's getting higher. And then notice how there's a hill where it goes down a little bit, and then it makes another hill and it goes down, but the hill is a lower hill. Big hill, little hill, market making a higher high. That's DR divergence. So we can let's see here. Price is going up. Make that more visible. And DR is going, let me get bigger. DR is going down. It's diverging. They're going in opposite directions. And yes, the trade won. Now, if it was a short, they'd both be going down to diverge because it'd be like price is going lower and lower, but the hill isn't getting bigger and bigger. It's always big hill, little hill on either higher highs for a short or lower lows for a low. And these are a lot better than 50-50 trades. These are high probability trades. So we'll get to that, Dylan. All right. So we got the mini magnets covered. We did have two hills. Came down and went higher. It went up, down, up, higher. See, it's a hill. One hill, two hill. Price wasn't straight up. It dipped down and went back up. All right, we good? Everybody good on mini magnets? Feel like you understand them a little better, sort of see like where they come into play. Get the enhanced version of the trade. Get how if they're layering top and bottom. And then, of course, let's say you were just taking, and again, we're going to talk about this more live at Apex Live, but if you're taking a runner, do you think maybe a mini magnet, knowing that markets are attracted to it and knowing that markets push off of it might be a good place to trail a stop to? Yeah. So all these little things add up, right? Institutional block orders. All right. These are when there's large orders placed at one time by one trader. Okay. And it produces a level that could be a part of a stack for a bounce or serve as a level for like a secret setup to bounce off of, such as, the two secret setups that we teach you under step 2. It's often a level that the market will pull back to. There's a green block and a red block at near the same price. The level signifies a very important level if you get the two coming together. Okay, and basically this means somebody just bought a lot of contracts or somebody just sold a lot of contracts. And how do we know if they bought or sold? Isn't there a buyer for every seller? It means, was it on the uptick that it happened or was it on the downtick that it happened? So what drove that price? The buyer or the seller drove that price? And the biggest thing I tell you is there's not a whole lot of them. So they really shouldn't give you a lot of trouble. just when they're there, just look at it like another level being drawn. And you can use it to bounce off of for like a high probability setup, or look at it as a level in the way if you're using the standard setup too. As you know, do you have an obstruction? So Dennis asked, does the color of the block give an indication of direction? Me and Lori both have not seen a pattern in years of it giving any indication of direction. Just being a strong level to be aware of. The block, let me find one. Like I said, they don't show up just all the time because they're blocks. Meaning they're like really big orders, like 100 contracts got placed, or whatever sizes. There ought to be some. I know I've seen them. Goodness gracious. I'm literally looking for a block right now. Okay, there we go. That's a block. Okay, see that big green line? So until that right there is a large buy order that just came in. So where we can go to tonight apparently, but I probably don't have it because I don't have all my OP for tonight because I was restarting to get all the setup done. Apparently there was one at 1850 tonight, but I don't know if I caught it. Nope, because I didn't restart this till like 7 o'clock. I was restarting over and over again, testing the push out. Okay, so it's just that big red or green line. It's a huge red or green line. Don't get too overly concerned with them. They're just another level to be aware of for obstructions or to add to your enhanced setups. So you know what? Where I can pull them up is I'm in the room. See if it's still showing. So yeah, we got like big green line drawing on there. Sorry, the room is a little hard to put on the screen here. Okay, so those are like really should be like the most like disappointing part of the entire presentation because there's just not a whole lot to them. So it's just, but we have found that they are good for helping out with enhanced setups and that they are good for being aware of for obstructions. And it's just where really large orders went through. So also I like them for when I see a really big order sitting on a DOM to see if that was actually a big trader or was it just a bunch of small traders or did they spoof it and put it out there and pull it back right at the last second. Okay. I would copy the link if I could, but it doesn't give me any ability to copy links. I don't know why. All right, now here's one that a lot of y'all don't know about. The momentum star. What plays do we use the momentum star on? Who knows? We have two setups that we use it on. 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are really similar, right? 5 just has a what we call a ZOI crash that we're going to go into. So, which is the star, low volume score, ZOI, right? We do not use the momentum star on triple dippers. We do not use it on triple dippers at all. Those are not stars. Those are little apex logos. So this represents strength in one direction, okay? So when a star prints, there is strength in that direction. Now, what do you think happens if a star occurs on the bar before a reversal bar? It's that last hard push before the trend gives up. So when we combine that star with a low volume score, which we're going to get into, and a ZOI, then we get a really powerful setup. Okay? So again, it's a strong push in that direction, but if the market reverses right after it, that's there's your sign. Okay? So, look, there's a star. Then we got a trapped Xbox with the mini magnet on it, and the market happened to reverse. Now, if a star is meaning the market is pushing hard in that direction, would a star be helpful for trailing when it prints? Because this is momentum. Because if it's about to give it up, then there's a reversal bar, which might just be my setup. Look at that. There's a star right before reverses. That one happens to also win. You'll see that? So that one didn't give a setup by itself, so it wasn't a trade. But it was a star, made one last little push before it pulled down. But it's pushing hard at that level, either pushing hard like right at the top, pushing hard right at the bottom. There's momentum in it. But if we combine that with a reversal, meaning that momentum just died off, now we have a stronger setup. Hence why that's part of setups 4 and 5. Okay, and then hey, if I was trailing, oh well, I got a star and a mini magnet. I'll trail there. I got a star. I'll trail there. I got another star. I'll trail there. Y'all see where these pieces are coming together? Is this helping? I don't know if it's helping or if it's just confusing or... Because I've never really taught it this way before. So somebody asked, does a star before a naked Mex box enhance it? Yes, as long as all the other rules are applied, then definitely. Because that star means we just ran out. And that's why you'll hear people, hey, there was a star on the bar before that, X box right there. Because it actually, the momentum ran out, and then we got exhaustion, trapped orders, bar reversed, going the other way. So it can definitely help add, as long as it meets the other rules, okay, like with the trend, that type thing, or there is divergence, then yes. You can trail no matter what. I trail all the time, and I use the same ATM y'all use. I just drag my take profit, and I drag it up, and then I start trailing the other one. You could sort of say exhaustion is similar to negative momentum, and that'd be a way to put it. Sort of like on this one, you have exhaustion while it's going down, and you got momentum at the same time on the other end, right? So I do like a week after joining. Now I've seen them all for a bit and didn't go running off in all kinds of directions. Yeah, and that's sort of the idea is I didn't want to do all this stuff up front because I think it just will freak people out. They feel like they have to memorize all this stuff, and you don't. Y'all didn't know all of this, and y'all been trading. We have people in here who have been trading this, for months now, right? And y'all didn't know what these things meant. And so I actually intentionally chose, because usually the way I used to build them was I'd go, okay, let me build the chart up and show you everything on the chart. And then we get to the system and the rules. Well, first of all, you don't care. You just want to get to the system and the rules to see if the thing works. Now that it works, okay, help me understand it a little bit better. And so that's why I try to do this on the back end. So we're 10 weeks in on boot camp, right? And doing it. And the big problem is a lot of people they want to know everything before they do anything. And the reality is they never get to doing anything because they're never going to know everything. And you just got to take action. And so I didn't want to, I know that there are people out there that are like that. And I'm one of the people that are like that often. And so instead of enabling them, I decided I'd help them and not teach it all up front. Don't want to be an enabler. All right, so that is our momentum star. Let's see, what do we got next on the list here? We got our paw print. Did y'all know that paw actually stands for something? So you always put your stop loss at the high or low of the reversal bar in the direction you're going. All right, so paw means price at weakness. Did y'all know that? Or he says it stands for patience. So it means price at weakness. So OP identifies this, our engine identifies this as a weak price point. So meaning there's not a lot of orders going in that direction. They're going the opposite direction. There's stronger orders going in the opposing direction. There's more orders going in the opposing direction. So that's an area where there's not a lot of orders, so it will become an area for a target where the market will not necessarily go through it because there wasn't a lot of strength. There wasn't a lot of demand for orders at that price before. And that's exactly why you see them on reversals. Somebody is trying to chat like crazy. Okay, I should log out of the app. That's our Apex app, so I feel bad for ignoring them. But you combine them with an Xbox and trapped orders and mini magnets on reversal bars, and you get for a great scalp setup. Right? You combine them with, a paw on top of a paw on top of a mini magnet, you get a great setup, especially when you have that Xbox trapped order on a reversal bar. What's the difference between weakness and exhaustion? Math. That's the easiest answer I can give you. So, a lot of code. But both of them sort of, in a sense, mean the same thing, right? Because we want that exhaustion box with that paw print put together, right? Yeah, let's get rid of all this stuff here. Shrink this back down. But you can see how the market pushes off the paw print, got a reversal bar, pushes down to where? A paw print. Okay? It pushes off that paw print, it comes down here, some orders actually get trapped around it. Pushes off another paw print, we get another paw print, another paw print, another paw print. So just like I've said in most things that I've listed on OP right here, if you were trailing and you got a paw print, would that maybe be a good place to trail behind? Yeah. So if you're going into a price that was weak and you're going into it, would that be maybe an area where you want to tighten up your stop or take profit? One of the two. I mean, you could do either one. Because it was weak. And notice it hit this paw print right here. What happened? It sort of went up and pulled back down to where? The paw goes on up, and where does it stop at? A previous paw print. Price action was weak. There wasn't a lot of orders sitting there. And y'all can see, I mean, you can literally just watch it happen over and over again. That's why I was like, hey, take profit at this. Now, let's look at another piece right here. This, I think, is another good lesson, too, to go along with the paw prints. So right here, we got a trapped Xbox with a magnet within the 2 ticks of a paw print. You go short on this trade. Where is the wisest point to put your stop? Is the wisest point to put it like right where the magnet, where prices can be attracted to, or maybe above the weak price area? Now, if the Paul print was like 3 points away or even a point and a half away, would you want to put it up there? No. But if it's a couple ticks away, I'll take a couple ticks of extra risk to be on the other side of an area that is shown to be very weak. Does that make sense? Eric's like, I did that today on one of my trades, and I won because of it. So yeah, there you go. So like I said, it's not rocket science, but it's like when you get to understand a little bit more of sort of what maybe the best word is the concept of what the engine is displaying to you. That's why we call it order prints, because it's printing what is happening behind the scenes with all the orders versus you trying to read all the orders. And it's where it comes together. And it makes you have more confidence in your trade versus I'm just following a box with a blue thing inside of it, which, hey, is a good place to start. But eventually, you sort of want to know a little bit more than that. Why do I have like a search thing there? Okay, that went away. Okay. So trapped orders. This is when buyers... Okay, we got a question real quick. So show me your trades, Carl. I'll help you out. So trapped orders. Buyers or sellers stuck at a price level is what a trapped order is. Okay? So there was a big amount of buyers and not a lot of sellers. There's a big amount of sellers and not a lot of buyers. And again, we define that not as like, okay, again, you got isn't at every buy there's a sell? Yes. Was it on the upticks or the downticks? Okay? Was there a large amount of buyers that came in, but not a lot of sellers that came in? Disproportionate. So, if you take that same concept of what I just said, and you combine it with a trapped, okay, you got an X box with exhaustion on 2 prices of weakness, and the sellers are getting stuck where there's not very many sellers, but there's a lot more buyers, hence the trapped order. And we're pushing off of a magnet level, which is an imbalance in trades. You put all that together, all of a sudden you get an entry. Okay? And that's not the best example because it has 2 closed clusters. But you start putting all the pieces together. We got price at weakness, exhaustion, buyers getting stuck. Okay? Buyers on the right side, sellers on the left side. Okay? Getting stuck. Pushes down, you got an entry. So, and Todd just sort of put it perfectly, all the prints are weakness that push off of strength going the other direction. Yes. I've not seen any significance to whether there's 1, 2, or 3. So the number of traps hasn't really made it better or worse. Just the fact that there is trapped. You can see 1 that just flies down. You can see 3 that oscillates around before it goes down. Does that make sense on trapped? Not a lot to it, but it's just, that's what it is. Now, when you try to explain this to your spouse, you can do more than be like, see the green box and the blue thing and the orange thing, and when those all come together, then I sell. trapped orders are when buyers or sellers get caught. So if it's on the right side, it's when the buyers got caught. If it's on the left side, it's when the sellers got caught. So they'll appear and disappear as more orders come in and out of the market. That actually brings up two things that I need to show you before I move past trapped orders. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, one. How would you like to know, have y'all ever noticed how the orders, I'm glad you brought this up, Richard, how the trapped orders appear and disappear, appear and disappear, appear and disappear? And you're like, I put my order in, I take my order off. I put my order in, I take my order off. Would you like to not have them disappear? Would you like to know how to get around that? Do y'all notice something on my chart that you probably don't have on your chart? Y'all see these little red boxes? Those are leading volume, which is basically the opposite of trapped orders, okay? We don't read a lot into it, but if you put it in there, it will turn into, leading volume will turn into a trapped order if the bar is going to close in the other direction. That's why when it goes below the open, you'll see the trapped order. When it goes back up and the bar is starting to move up, it'll disappear. So if you go to your institutional order prints, okay, and you go to leading volume, it's alphabetically number 14, and set it to true. Now you could make it the same color. I make mine crimson red just so I know the difference, okay, of what's strong and what's weak. But you just set number 14 to true, change it to crimson, and now you'll have that red appear when the bar is above the open, and then it'll blue when it's below the open. And it'll stay there, and you'll know if it's still there, so you don't have to cancel your order and put it back on. Cancel your order and put it back on. And then make sure you save your workspace after you make that change. And then if you want to change your trapped orders around, let's go to institutional order prints over here. And let's go to trapped orders. So now we've added in where you can put in a minimum width and you can show a border around them. And you can change the color of the border as well. And that's why they're so much easier to see. So if you have a template, you just want to go in and change that to, like, say, minimum width of 3 and show trapped as true, and change the color to whatever you want to change it to. And this is light goldenrod yellow, okay? So I like it, it works. Then now the trapped orders are so much easier to see. But you have to install the new toolkit like I talked about at the beginning of the webinar. Okay? Yep, orders are constantly being added and removed. So trapped orders may show up and go away, show up and go away. But if you'll turn on the leading volume, if it's still going to be there, it'll still show up. All right, so we got one more, and then we're wrapping it up, okay? So let me pull my PowerPoint back up. Volume score. So volume score rates the strength of a bar. So how strong is that bar? The lower the number, the stronger the bar. Sort of weird. Weak bar, high number, okay? When a low volume score is printed on the bar before a reversal bar, the reversal is often very strong. It's sort of like that whole star thing, okay? So you get that star where it was pushing really hard, it's that last push. So a really low volume score actually means it's a really hard push. It's just a different formula. Whereas when you get a really large volume score, like say 1,000, that often indicates a big move is coming soon. So the lower the number, the stronger it is. That's all you got to make it that simple. The bigger the number, the more likely there's a big move coming. So think of it, again, just like the star, okay? The star means it's pushing really hard, okay? There's a lot of strength in that bar. But if you get a low volume score and a star and the bar reverses, then do you see the weakness? Okay, like really strong, a lot of strength in the bar. The whole volume of the bar is the low volume score. Okay, we take a lot of math and we take all the volume inside of the bar, not just points in the bar. And then that number, if it's low, which we define low as positive 13 to negative 13. Okay? So we sort of like make them all, even numbers. But the lower that number is, if that bar reverses, that means that there was a hard push, then it gave up the ghost and went on down. Look at this. We got a star 6, and then a reversal bar. And we got an X box with trapped orders and a paw. Does that make me like that trade better? Knowing that there is a really strong bar preceded by reversal, which shouldn't happen. Okay? And a momentum star, meaning the market pushed really hard there, leading volume, all that's happening right there, and then it reverses down. So again, it's showing strength followed by weakness where the bar reversed. So we got strength, star, low volume score, followed by weakness, exhaustion box, paw print, trapped orders. Does that make it more sense, Miles? Cool. So I was like, that's confusing at first, so which is good. I like that feedback because I want to explain it to you. I'll get it. And then, okay, then the last piece that we have, like I said, we have one more, is the ZOI, or the zone of interest. Zones of interest are where there's aggressive trading in a tight area that will often draw price right back to it, okay? A ZOI crash is when two different colored ZOIs, which it doesn't matter what color they are, that doesn't give you an indication of buy or sell, okay? But when two different colored ZOIs print at the same level or one on top of each other, that's called a ZOI crash. They're coming in, like they're crashing into each other. That signifies that there are aggressive traders on both sides happening in a small price area. So when you got a big battle of traders, okay, meaning there's a lot of aggressive traders, and then you have a low volume score, meaning like a lot of strength is being put in, and then you have a momentum star, which means they're really doing a hard push, and all this aggressive trading, and that bar prints right there, the ZOI prints, and the bar reverses, it's going to go. If it crashes, that means you got buyers and sellers on both sides who won, the reversal side won, and it goes. Okay? We even use them in step 3 because there's aggressive traders happening at a buy or a sell level, which is where the ZOI prints. And then you get an X box, not even an X box, you get a paw print and a magnet, which is setup 3, off of a ZOI. So if we look at this, there's a lot of aggressive trading happening right here. And look what happens. Boom. Boom. And finally it breaks through. So, and you can watch, like there's a lot of aggressive trading. And so it's goes down, hits this paw mini magnet. Do you think you should, by the way, if you took that trade, which would be an X box with the paw on a mini magnet, and you're running into a paw and a mini magnet, which is a stack, do you think you should be taking your profit right there, or at least moving to break even as a minimum? Yeah, take your profit. Okay. So you could say ZOIs are, in a way similar to clusters, but a wider price range. But there's a lot of aggressiveness on the buy side or the sell side. Again, it doesn't really matter as far as direction goes. But when you see all that aggressive trading happening, that's the best word I can use to describe the math. And you combine that with aggressive, momentum, like a star, and you combine that with a lot of strength in the bar, and it has that aggressive trading right on the bar, and it reverses, then that's your reversal trade that we call setup number 4. Low volume score, star low volume score, ZOI on bar before, or the bar before that. So does that make sense? Does that help a little bit? I mean, that's a lot of definitions, but I think you hopefully got the concept that we're talking about things that show strength followed by weakness, or just things that show weakness with reversal, which would be strength in the other direction. So it's pushing off of it. It's all about strength and weakness, and that's what the order prints engine does for you in the background. So is this a Paul print and a Paul line? No, just a Paul line is going to be drawn until it's broke. So that, because we've found that they make very valuable levels. Sweet. Well, I'm glad y'all enjoyed that. I know we definitely went over tonight. We had a lot we covered between the release and the ATM, because people asked me to go over the ATM today. So I want to cover that for you and all these definitions. But looks like y'all hung out and stayed on, and hopefully you got a lot out of it. Exhausted? Yeah, just wait till the live event. You'll be like, So, but I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow morning in the trade room. And make sure you register for next week's webinar. We'll do some chart reviews, and we'll go through all this stuff and put it all together. Okay? So, we're not just doing becoming a live trader. We're also going to do some chart review and put it all together. So y'all have a good night. Thank you very much. Y'all are welcome. Good night.